Scotty. Yeah. I'm talking about the greatest. Hold up. Never with that fakeish. Roll up. Realest of the real when he was young. Muhammad Ali was still the same when he growed up. Louisville strong, we all knew. He the chosen one. He the chosen one. He knocked out Lister and he shocked the world and left it frozen, huh? Exposing the hatred America had for us. Ain't no justice. It was just us. 1974. Rumble in the jungle, the Thriller and Manila left you humble. After Ali beat Foreman, he made a phone call to a DC brother named Harold Bell. He didn't call ABC, NBC. He didn't call Ed Bradley at 60 Minutes. He didn't call Howard Cosell. He floated like butterfly, stung like a bee. And Ali made me proud to be me. He called Harold Bell in DC. Ali, a global cultural icon. Yeah, he's rope a dope like a time bomb. Rumble, young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, triumph for the rumble. Young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, never tumble to rumble.
Muhammad Ali, Harold Bell, Jill Scott, Heron, Kendrick, and Baba.
Rumble,
young man, number beautiful young man, never time for the devil, time for the.
Now we're talking about Harold Bell, Jill Scott, Heron.
Didn't get them dough.
Yeah, now we're talking about Harold Bell, oh, real godfather of sports talk, a man that talk and walk that walk, a media community pioneer. Share the same radio mic as Petey Green. Over the air, his voice came through loud and clear. When the streets of the original Chocolate City were mean, they did not have to scream, yeah. Unlike today's radio host, the first black American to host and produce his own sports talk radio show in DC. Oh yeah, this brother was bad G. The show was christened Inside Sports. The tag given to him by his wife Hattie T, stolen by the powers to be. His interviews and friendship with Ali and Red all were back. Put his Inside Sports talk show on the map on his radio show. He interviewed some of the most famous athletes, reverend and reviewed the people and the struggle. His wife Hattie T founded Kids in Trouble, incorporated in the Hillcrest Saturday program in 1968. Shortly after the DC riots, this idea was great and still is to this very date. Invited by Nixon to come to the White House, his own people showed their jealousy, so what? Lights out, that great man's name is Harold Bell. He knew Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali up close and personal. Yeah. When it comes to this brother, there is no comparing. He also knew brother Gil Scott-Heron. If Harold Bell had played the game, he would have been a millionaire. We would have been calling Howard Cosell the Black Harold Bell. Oh yeah.
Muhammad Ali, Harold Bell, Gil Scott, Heron, Kendrick, Lamar.
Rumble,
young man, rumble, beautiful young man, never tumble them, never tumble them, never tumble. Muhammad Ali, Harold Bell, Gil Scott, Heron, Kendrick, Lamar.
rumble,
Young man, rumble, beautiful young man, never tumble them, never tumble them, never tumble.
the revolution will not be on your telly. Yeah. The revolution will not be on your telly. Yeah. The revolution, when it happens, will start in your mind. No one will be able to see it or make recordings of it of any kind. He told you the truth while the government was telling you lies. From the mind of Gil Scott-Heron, the revolution will not be televised. His aggressive, no-nonsense street poetry inspired a legion of intelligent rappers.
Welcome, everyone. It is me, Bach, everything DMV radio presenter. I'm here by way of Harold Bell as his co-host on the second chapter of the original Inside Sports. And I want to thank everybody who has tuned in over this first season, which today is our season finale of the second chapter of the original Inside Sports with Harold Bell. Today is special. Over the past seasons, we've brought you many different public figures, talked about different sports and different things that have been happening in the sports industry, along with Harold Bell's archive of the things that he's done in the community, addressing major issues and concerns, also letting people know what he has done for the community, for sports, for the youth. And this season has brought forth a lot of legacy, and the history behind the platform of the original Inside Sports. But today we're going to the source. Uh, we opened up the show with a record, this record, with the words and with the story behind the story. So as we begin today's program, um, we want you to go and check out that record. Um, you can see the links in the descriptions as well. It really gives a full understanding and details about who Harold Bell is and what he has done to the community. So, for those joining us live, this is the second chapter of the original Inside Sports with Harold Bell. I'm Shannon Big Bach Roundtree, and we're going to close out season one by going directly into Harold Bell's own writings and reflections from his blog, the original Inside Sports.blog. One of the recent pieces Harold wrote is titled Walking on Our Own Drumbeat and Applause. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our host, our legend, our pioneer of sports talk radio, the Godfather himself, Mr. Harold Bell. Welcome to the show.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. As Shannon said, we get ready to close out the second chapter today. We will take a break and we'll come back. The third chapter. And but what I wanted to do today, I wanted to spotlight the blog that I had just written on the original Inside Sports .blog. You can find my blogs up there, and the recent blog, like Shannon said, it's a deep story that a lot of folks don't know. I wrote it because a friend that had known me for 40 years had no idea of what I had accomplished, and they was trying to get somebody to be a guest on our podcast, and they described the podcast as a little podcast out of Washington, D.C. So I said, hold
up. Right.
I said, I know a little podcast. I'm known all over the world.
Absolutely.
And, so I said, maybe I need to put something in writing, giving some folks. Probably there are other folks like that, like her. Who, yeah. I don't know who she's been talking to. She's been around me for 40 years. So, and she don't have any idea about Inside Sports, the impact that Inside Sports has had on sports media all over the world.
Yeah.
The Kids in Trouble and the things that the Kids in Trouble did first in the community before anyone else.
Right.
I said, I want to write a story. And so Shannon, that's why I sit down. It took me about almost 3 days to write that blog. And
in the article, you reflect on your journey, the platform, and many people and moments that shape, your work over the decades. And within the article, there's a message that you received years ago from someone who, understood the significance of your work, and I think that is, very, 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 very powerful, what, came from him. So for those who don't know, that the message came from Mr. Dr. Henry Edwards.
Dr. Harry Edwards.
Harry Edwards. Yeah. For those who, may not know who he is, he was one of the central figures behind the Olympic Project, for human rights and the broader movement connecting sports and social justice. So I would love to read that piece. After doing, checking things out, it says, Harold, congratulations. Your achievements are valuable and should be given the broadest exposure. Have you ever thought about offering discs of your programs to the new Smithsonian Institute, National Museum of African American History and Culture? It's a wing of the museum which is dedicated to the struggle in sports and will be titled Leveling the Playing Field. Your work has a major force over the years in leveling the playing field, especially in terms of the struggle to define and protect our truth. I will send you a contact involved in putting the museum together. Great job over the years. Great timing in repraising that legacy now. The best wishes of me and my family to your wife. She is in our thoughts and prayers. Dr. Harry Edwards, January 30th, 2014.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
For him to be at the forefront in the 1968 Olympics to
Yeah, Shannon, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, that is amazing, man. And when I received that email from him, man, it kind of said, man, wow, for this man to be who he is and what he had accomplished, man. I mean, that was when the revolution in sports started with that 1968 boycott of course, of Tommy Smith, John Carlos, and the brother from Australia, Peter Norman. Peter Norman, he was the only one didn't have a black glove on, but he did have an emblem on, showing his support for what these two brothers did, and of course, behind the coordination of Dr. Harry Edwards. That boycott was known all over the world, and that whole team, including Peter Norman, caught hell for decades, man. Peter Norman was treated in Australia like they were treating and are treating black folks here in America. He went back and they denied him jobs, man. It was terrible what they did to Peter Norman. But Harry, Tommy, and John Carlos never forgot. And when Peter Norman died, they went to Australia to be the pallbearers for his homegoing service. And I made a mistake too, man. You know, I'm flawed like everybody else. And that outstanding letter from Dr. Harry Edwards, man, really gave me hope, lifted me up, inspired me, you know, even though it never accomplished going into the Smithsonian Museum, which was all political and politics. But, you know, I appreciate Harry saying that, you know, I changed the level, I changed the playing field for the black athlete by speaking out. I told our truth. But still, like I said, I'm human. I make mistakes, and I made a mistake, man, 2 years ago when I read in the Washington Post. I don't know if I was teed off at Harry or what, but it said that Harry was having problems with his health, and I just want to apologize for what I said in response to that article to Harry, who never meant me any harm. I mean, we didn't always agree. The three of us, Jim Brown and Harry Horton, I'm talking about Harry Edwards, something about my buddy. Harry Edwards on Inside Sports on Saturdays, man, was something to behold. I really followed their lead. I really did. So today I want to take time out and apologize. Maybe too little, too late, but I need to apologize to Dr. Harry Edwards. And this is what I'm saying in this letter to him. I said, "Hi, Harry. I hope this email finds you and yours well. It has been a minute since we last had a conversation. Harry, I am flawed like the next man, which means I make mistakes. And I did 2 years ago when I read in the Washington Post that you were having problems with your health. I have no idea how I could have been so pissed off at you because of the conversations you and I had regarding the talking heads in TV sports media today. Jim Brown, you and I were always on the same page. These athletes had no clue to what was going on regarding the plight of the Black athlete in Black America. They were the gatekeepers that we despised. They were not like us. For me to write a blog titled The Last Will and Testimony, Dr. Harry Edwards, Dead Man Walking and Talking, that was not too bright. You would have thought that I was writing about the thoughtless Don King. The reason I'm writing this email is because I was using AI as a research tool for my second book titled For Whom the Bells Toll. One evening last month, there was a call from your number, but it only rang one time. I figured it must have been a pocket call and let it go. Today, I was researching our name regarding our relationship for over 50 plus years. The information was mind-blowing, especially where I read I claimed that my community work was just as significant as yours when it came to academics and activist roles. It went further when it said I had challenged the idea that you invented the wheel regarding community advocacy. I pointed to my work with kids in trouble and my early efforts to promote local athletes before they became famous. Harry, this AI is dangerous. I have never had the thought or have written such BS. I could not carry your jockey strap as an athlete. My academic prowess was light years behind you. Your struggle in the fight for equal and civil rights is second to none. Yes, I need to be cussed out, and you have looking to the sky when someone mentions my name in your space for that ill-timed blog regarding your health. The AIBS saying I belong on the same academic team or competing with you in the same circle where the shot put is being thrown is a little far-fetched. Harry, on January 30th, 2014, when I received that outstanding, inspiring email from you, man, that's second to none. It's second only to Muhammad Ali giving me the only interview after he knocked out George Foreman in the 8th round in Zaire, Africa. It was the biggest upset in boxing history and the most important fight of his career. The fight is now known as the Rumble in the Jungle. You know, I never get tired of watching that interview. And I never get tired of reading your thoughtful note from 2014. This may be too little, too late, but still I want to apologize. It was difficult to tell my wife of this careless choice of words that I had the nerve to put pen to paper. In closing, she has not forgotten how you and your family sent prayers up for her in 2014. We want to send prayers up for you and your family. Peace and blessings. Harold Bell.
Very, very, very nice words. Very, very, very nice words. And to recognize it, come back, correct it. That's what makes you who you are, man. And we thank you for that. Let me ask you this. After hearing, that message again today, what does that mean to you now?
Well, Hey, that's easy, man. It's kept hope alive, man. Like I guess that was the late Jesse Jackson great saying, "Keep hope alive." Harry, uh, Tommy, John, and Peter Norman, man, by taking that stand. So, that's the most courageous boycott in sports history. That's the most courageous boycott in sports history. And I met Harry and Tommy here in Washington, D.C. That's Harry. That's Rap Brown right on the left. That's Tommy Smith next to him. That's Harry Edwards next to him. And that's Stokely Carmichael right there on the right. They all came to Washington, D.C. in 1965, along with Marion Byrd. They invaded D.C., man. And there has never been a group of brothers like that since, man. All stand-up brothers. So when I met Harry there, and we talked, and Petey Green ended up getting Rap Brown a job with the two of us at the United Planning Organization, as we worked the playgrounds, the schools. We were troubleshooters for young people in the U Street corridor, which was known as Black Broadway. And Rap Brown, man, is one of the brightest young men that I've ever known, man. He was a bright individual and a hell of an athlete, man. He could throw a football 60 yards in the air. Wow. He used to go down to the playground, at Harrison Playground, and find the kids down there with football. And Rap Brown would go out. He said, "Come on, let me see how this great wide receiver you're supposed to be." Had no idea he could throw that ball the way that he did, man. And I had sneakers on that particular day, and that was a great moment, man, that I met this brother. And we just lost this brother. They had him locked up in jail for allegedly shooting to death a state trooper. I think Rap might have been 82 years old. I was older than Rap, but they gave us no idea that he had passed. And the only reason I found out that he had passed, I was talking to John Carlos about a month or so ago. And he told me, man, he said, Rap Brown passed. I said, "What do you mean he passed?" He died in jail. So, those are the great memories, man, that I go back with Dr. Harry Edwards, man. And I don't know where my head was at the time for me to say what I said. But, like I said, I make mistakes. I'm flawed like the next person. But I wanted to take this time to apologize for whatever it's worth, man.
Absolutely.
Whatever it's worth. I said it.
You have to. I mean, it's only right. Thank you for that. What did Dr. Harry Edwards, see in your work that many others may have overlooked?
Well, her and Jim Brown, the three of us, we were like the Three Musketeers on Inside Sports on Saturdays, man. And Harry was light years ahead of his time, man. He was light years ahead of his time, man, when it came to the struggle, man. He was in it all out. And Jim Brown, we ain't got to say it, Jim Brown was out there too, man. They were out there speaking up, man, taking a stand, and there I was, I'm really, man, I'm sitting in the studio. I'm just a part of the landscape, man. I'm listening to these brothers and I'm learning, man. And they both inspired me, man. And like I said, we didn't always agree, didn't it? They didn't always demand that I agree with them. I was my own man early in my talk show career. And Harry and Jim Brown were a great part of that. They inspired me, man. Whenever I knew I was gonna have them on the show, man, I was up for it, man. And I still got those interviews on cassette tape and on DVD today, man. So Harry, his contributions, man, is second to none when it comes to civil and human rights, man. Second to nobody. If you look at his resume, man, he's worked for the San Francisco 49ers as a consultant, the Golden State Warriors, He is taught in college, man. Just a bright, human being, you know. And I
That's
think
amazing.
I got kind of I think I know what I got pissed off at him about. That we were talking about these broadcasters, man, that were nothing but gatekeepers, you know, and cheerleaders. You know, that'd be part of our conversation, man. These guys got this national platform, but they really not doing anything to support or enhance the plight of Black folks. And I think what happened, I saw Harry, same guy we were talking about. Harry's on the show with them, you know, talking about what's going on in the Black community. I said, hey, man, what the hell is going on, Harry? I'm sitting up there with so and so. I don't want to call their names, but you got some idea what I'm talking about. And there was Jim Brown another time. But I finally realized that they had major platforms where they could get the word out. And you know, I was no longer really that big on the sports media scene because they had sent me through a lot of changes. But that's the only thing, and man, I think I just went off when I saw that article, man. And I said Harry was a dead man walking, man, because of his health problem. But anyway, let's take a break, man, and let's come back and let's talk about some other stories in that blog that you can find at www.theoriginalinsidesports.blog if you want to read it. Let's take that break, Shannon.
They want to erase us. If there was ever a time to elevate our voices, share our stories, build our communities, embrace our creativity and ingenuity, as well as create safe spaces controlled and owned by us, it's now. Welcome to the Black Zone. Black Zone Social. Black Zone Television. Black Zone Magazine. For you. For me. For us.
Okay, man.
Welcome back. So, you know, for those who are just joining us, this is the second chapter of the original Inside Sports with Harold Bell. We want to thank everybody who are tuning in online. Um, Also, you could play this back on YouTube. But today's story is about, behind the platform. As HB said, his blog lays it all out for you so that you could see who he is, where he's come from, what he's done. Because a lot of people speak, but they don't really know you, even though you've been with them for, many, many, many decades, man. So, um, you know, before there was, a debate show or talk show where, sports media was, talked about, before sports media became what it is today, there was a voice that were building conversations in real time. Harold Bell has often talked about what the early days of his journey was like and how he put these things together. From, time spent with figures like Petey Green to the development of his own broadcast path and eventually, the creation of the original Inside Sports, which the name had to be changed to the original Inside Sports. And I'm sure he'll, get into all of that. But what makes this story powerful is, not just the broadcast, it is the relationships, it is the people, it is the network of athletes, community leaders, journalists, and media figures that Harold encountered, brought along the way, and showed them. I mean, people like Dr. Harry Edwards, Congressman John Lewis, Red Auerbach, Earl Lloyd, Sonny Hill, Mayor Wilson Goody, Brian Gumble, James Brown, Kathy Hughes, and many others connected to the world of sports, media, and community leadership. These relationships tell a large story, a story about influence, a story about representation, and a story about making sure that the truth of those moments was recorded and shared. Harold, when you think about those relationships and those years, what do people today still misunderstand about that period of sports history?
Well, that's a good question, Shannon. I think what they miss, man, is that uh, I was a legend, so-called legend, before I got on radio. I was a legend in the community working with young people, youth gangs, and at-risk children. I worked all over the DMV, Simple City, Potomac Gardens, Mount Pleasant, Parkside, Mayfair, Alexandria, Virginia, out Charles Houston Rec Center, in Suitland, Maryland, on Homer Avenue. I went wherever there were young people having problems. And this, this was all taking place before Petey Green gave me 5 minutes on his talk show, Petey Green's Washington, in 1967. I had met Petey when I was in high school, and we both were caddies out at Burning Tree Golf Course. And one of the things that my homeboys warned me going out there, stay away from Petey Green, Harold. Petey Green, man, is up to no good. Petey didn't come out there to caddy. Petey would come out there, wait for us caddies, been out there walking with them bags all day. And he'll go deep down in the woods and have a crap game or card game, and and end up going down. And so one day, the damn fool that I was, I get in early before everybody else. And I decided, because we would wait to travel back home together. The guys from Northeast DC, my homeboys, might have been about 4 or 5 of us, man. We hung together, man, because those were difficult times, man. We out in Bethesda, Maryland, man. We out in Clan country. So we would always, wait for each other, try to get rides into Westmoreland Circle and get on the same bus to ride home. And that day, I'm impatient, man. I'm ready to go, so I ain't have nothing to do. And what do? I go down and check out Petey Green. Boy, the biggest mistake I ever made. And see, I thought I was a gambler. I shoot crap, play cards. That's what we did in the neighborhood, because my mother had like an after hours joint in my housing project where I grew up. She sold bootleg liquor and had card games, on the weekend, and did real well, because what happened, she lost her good job with the government as a clerk typist, the last hired, the first fired, so she got laid off, man. We had to find a way to survive. And she was very lucky in hitting the numbers, man. In fact, she ended up with a number book from a guy by the name of Billy Jackson, who had the number book for that area. He lived on Sheriff Road, but he would come over to Parkside to pick up the numbers. And since my mother was frequently hitting the numbers, he gave her the book. He said, Maddie, you got the people here in Parkside. You take the numbers, man. And on Saturdays or Sundays, my brother Earl and I would walk my mother up Sheriff Road to take the numbers or to pick up the hits that people had hit, man, So I come
crazy you say that, though, Harold. That's crazy.
Decade.
Yeah, I mean, seeing us, like I watch movies and I've seen it like in movies, but for you to tell me like your mom did that, like we see it as like it's fictional, like it's not real, what I mean? But you telling me like, no, this is really real.
Yeah, this is real, man. This was real, man. My mother used to have all the change that she had a weekend hidden in the closet. And I would go in there and grab nickels, quarters, and dimes and go out and gamble under the lamppost. And this is where I met Marvin Gaye. Marvin used to come over to Parkside. They had a doo-wop group over there, man. And while we were playing crap, Marvin would be singing and stuff. But I want to get back to Petey Greene. So anyway, I go down there, go down in the woods, man, and Petey Greene said, "Young boy, what you want to do? You want to play cards or crap?" And I said, "Well, I think I keep my eyes on the cards, but I keep my eyes on the crap." So man, I was broke in 10 minutes, man. That money that I had earned on that golf course, man, I was broke. So before I left, he gave me $2. He said, "Here's $1 for bus fare, and the other $1 you get 10-cent hamburgers at the little tavern." Because that's what we would do. We would get on the bus, man, and our second stop would be a little tavern. We're going to get them 10-cent hamburgers and take them all the way back to Parkside, man.
Wow.
So anyway, Petey,
hamburgers, $5.
Now, Shannon, I'm heading out the woods, going to the parking lot, see if I can get a ride, because I don't want my homeboys to see me, because they told me not to mess with Petey Greene, and I'm broke. You understand? So as I'm going to the parking lot, Shannon, the pro Max Elvin hollers, say, "Hey, Little Bell, come here, Little Bell, come here." So I turned around and went back. I said, "What the hell does Max want with me?" So he said, "Look, I got 2 bags. These 2 guys are going to just play 9 holes, man." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Oh, man, oh, my gracious, I got a chance to get some money back in my pocket." So I'm walking toward the tee, and I hear somebody holler, "Hey, Harold, are you ready for an adventure?" I turn around and I look, man, there's the Vice President of the United States of America, Richard Nixon. And I look, I said, "Yes, sir. Come on, just give me the money, man." So I didn't understand, Shannon, what he was talking about in adventure. His ball stayed in the woods more than the birds and the bees, man. I was in and out of them woods. It was hot as hell. And Mr. Rogers was just smiling, man. And what happened, Rogers was a hell of a golfer, man. A classy guy, man. Nice as he could be. And he was teaching Richard Nixon how to play the game. So make a long story short, man, I thought we were going 9 holes, and I hear the president holler, "Let's go 9 more." I said, "Oh my God, no, he didn't say that." So we went 9 more, and it was pitch dark when we got up to the house. And man, president said, "Okay, Harold, that's enough for today. I'll be right back." So I'm standing out there waiting for him to bring me my money. And man, all my homeboys are gone. I said, "Man, how the hell am I gonna get home, man? I ain't never traveled out home by myself." So I'm out there. I said, "Well, the kitchen help or the shoe shine guy in the locker room, they'll come and I get a ride with them." So sure enough, I'm standing out waiting, and who comes out of the clubhouse first but Richard Nixon? And the first thing he says when he see me, "Harold, you need a ride?" I said, "Yes, sir, I surely do." He said, "Come on." And at that time, Shannon, they ain't had no Secret Servicemen. He had no secret, just him and Rogers. And Rogers was like driving, and the vice president be sitting up front, you know. And I got in that limousine. Man, that was like an apartment, man. I got back there, man. I couldn't believe I ain't never been in something this big, man. So Rogers, they pull off, and we get out to the road, and the vice president is looking back at me. And he said, "Harold," he said, "Where do you live?" I said, "Sir, I live in Northeast Washington." He said, "Okay." He said, "You got any brothers and sisters?" I said, "Yes, sir. I got 3 brothers." And he said, "Where you go to school?" I said, "I go to Spingarn High School." He said, "Oh, okay." He said, "You playing the sports?" Oh man, what did he say that for? Shannon, I leaned back in the seat and said, "Man, I play football, basketball, and baseball, man. I'm so proud of myself." He asked me that. So he looked at me and said, "Oh, that's great. That's great." He said, "Son, but let me tell you something. That football and basketball and baseball will not carry you as far as your education. You need to get the books." And man, I looked at him, man. I had never had nobody talk to me like that before, man. So Anyway, we pull up on Westmoreland Circle. I get out and he said, we'll see you next week. Harold, we'll see you. I said, so I whispered to myself, I hope not. I got on that bus, man, and went on home, man. But that's how I met Petey Green. That's how I met the Vice President of the United States, was at Burning Tree Golf Course, man. That
Just
changed my
17 years
life,
old.
man. It changed my life, man. And I guess, man, growing up in that environment in housing in Northeast DC, man, I saw a lot of things happen, man. People got so jealous of my mother having those card games and having a number book. My mother helped everybody, man. Anybody that needed help, she gave her money, man.
Wow.
Those same people turned on her and snitched, man. Start telling the cops when she was having the game. And man, that's a hell of a thing to have police knock on your door or force their way in your place, man. And my mother was down there with, selling chicken dinners, and they carried my mother out, man, in handcuffs. And me and my brother Earl sitting on the steps crying, man. And my mother would look back and she said, "Don't worry, I'll be back in time to get you guys ready for church in the morning." And a friend of ours from across the street, she would come over there and stay with us till my mother got back in. And her brother, Jody Wall, told me, because I was carrying groceries at the Safeway trying to help my mother make ends meet.
Yeah.
My brother Earl, he was busting people in the head, robbing them.
Oh, wow.
That was good for me, man. So on the weekend, Shannon, they would go down to the 8th Street corridor, man, and they would hit the cash registers. They would hit the cash register, man. They get the clerk's attention and everything. They hit the cash register. I went down there 1 week with her, man. I said, "No, man, I can't do this, man." I went back to the Safeway, started carrying groceries. And then Jody Wall, the lady who came over to take care of us when my mother was taken out, he said, "Harold, you need to come on and go out to the golf course with me on the weekend, man. You can make more money out there." And that's how I got out to the golf course, man. Turned my whole life around, man. And I became a risk taker. I think that's what took me to another level on the radio or in media. I took risks, Shannon. Even with Petey Green, he'd get mad at me for things I would say. And finally told me to go on to find my own radio show.
Wow.
Kicked me off, man. And Bobby Bennett was waiting, who was the #1 DJ for the country at the time. He was at WOL. So he found out, said, "Harold, come on, do sports with me on Saturday." So I went and did that a year with Bobby. And the next year, man, I was able to grow my boy friend that I grew up with, John Turk. His name was Terrible Turk at WOOK. And he said, "Man, come on, man. I think we can get you a show up at WOK." And that's where it all started, man. 1972. Hattie gave me that Inside Sports. We were at the dinner table having dinner. I said, "Hattie, I'm getting ready to do this new show at WOK. I need a title for the show." She didn't even look up from eating. She said, "Inside Sports." I said, "What you say?" Inside Sports. I said, "How you come up with that?" She said, "Well, you get all the information before everybody else. The athletes come and tell you what's going on." That's how I was successful on Petey's show. I got tight with the DC athletes, man, with the Nationals, with the Redskins, and with the Bullets. I would have those sources, man. So that carried me to WOOK. And man, my attorney, who was there with me at that night with my wife, he told me, he said, "Harold, trademark this name, copyright, but trademark Inside Sports. It's gonna be hot." I ain't paying no attention to it, man. I got no time for that. Let me go and get on the air, man, get my show going. And sure enough, man, 1978, the Washington Post took my tag, Inside Sports. I'm 10 minutes from the Washington Post, man. I got the writers, the sports editors in and out on my show, man.
Wow.
And Donald Graham and Katharine Graham, they didn't want me a part of it. Just took my tag and went up to New York and started the Inside Sports magazine. And it goes on and on from there, man.
Yeah. And it was Sonny Hill, right, who said, Harold, you can forget your own folks
Oh
showing any appreciation for your reach back efforts.
yeah,
They will be the last to show you any love. And what's
that's
love
right.
got to do with it, right?
Yeah, Sonny Hill was a playground and NBA legend up in Philadelphia on the playground. He never played NBA ball, but Sonny was like one of the first trailblazers in doing color analyst for the NBA. Sonny was sharp, man. He could dress. He was good looking, man. And the people loved him because he broke the game down the way it was supposed to be broken down, like Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers probably copied off Sonny Hill. Doc knew the game, and Sonny Hill did too. And they got so jealous. Brent Musburg and them got so jealous of Sonny Hill, man. They ran Sonny off the air, man. Ran him off there. He never got back, man. And it was all about a brother being intelligent, knowing the game, can speak the game. The players respected him, and they didn't like that, man. So Sonny and I became good friends, and he would have me on his show. I would go up to Philadelphia and take my kids to his basketball camp. He and John Chaney had a camp, basketball camp. John Chaney was the great John Chaney from Temple University basketball coach. So I would take my kids up there. I take about 10 or 12 kids up there every year. They let me bring them up there free. I used to care Cassius Hughes' son, Alfred. He would be one of them little kids because she asked me to be a big brother to him because he had no dad. And she was struggling to make it as a receptionist at WHUR radio. So yeah, that was a heck of an experience. And that's how I got Nike. I got my Nike job being up there with Sonny one summer. The guy from Nike, John Phillips, was in town from Portland, Oregon. And Sonny introduced me to him, and he found out I was from Washington, D.C. And you know what this brother said? Hey,
What?
man, how would you like to be the Nike representative on the East Coast? I said, what? He said, yeah, man, we look for somebody on the East Coast, man. And you sound like you the man. And that's how I became the first Nike rep on the East Coast, man. I had and guess what my job was? Giving
What?
away tennis shoes and outfits to the celebrities. I put tennis shoes, outfits in the trunk of my car, ride around the playground, and give that stuff away, man. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying?
That's amazing, man. That's amazing to be able to, to do that. You had mentioned, Bill and Scott, and then, the Grahams. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because they were the first ones to really were they the first ones to really take what you have and try to transform it into something?
You mean the Washington Post as far as taking Inside Sports?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I said, they were the first ones to understand. My show was so popular, Shannon, that I was on AM radio, Shannon. You know, that's the weakest link on the radio dial. It's AM radio. I'm on a gospel station, and I had no idea, man, that so many people were listening to me, especially white folks. I only found that out when I went out to the Bullets game, or to the Redskins. And the white folks would stop me in the corridor, man, and tell me how much they were enjoying my show. And that time, Shannon, I was able to find one way and get my own sponsors. I was the first one to buy time from the radio station. I had Nike as a sponsor. I had Coca-Cola as a sponsor. Jim Brown got me Coca-Cola. I got Budweiser. I was the first sports and marketing rep for Budweiser on the East Coast. They told me to write my own job description. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
They told me to write my own job description. But man, the jealousy, man, that came along with those titles and those big paychecks from the Maryland State Lottery, man, can cause a lot of jealousy. I wasn't flaunting it, but I became a household name because I've given back to the community. And through PD and I still remain friends. When this white guy at the Eastern Market gave PD 50 turkeys for Thanksgiving, PD called me and said, man, I got 50 turkeys, man. What can I do with them? So anyway, we end up dispensing those turkeys. Petey was the first one to do that. All this stuff you see them doing there, they followed me and Petey's lead when they came to the community. I think Petey, I ended up with 2 turkeys, and we gave the rest of them away, man.
Wow.
And Christmas toy parties, all that stuff, man. I started my first Christmas toy party, Shannon, was after the 1968 riots. I was on the streets for 3 nights and 3 days, man, during the riots, because I was a roving leader with the DC Department of Recreation. And when the riots started, man, I was down at 9th and U Street with Willie Wood of the Green Bay Packers. Well, Willie Wood, we hanging out. I know I had known Willie since high school, man. He was like one of my heroes. But Willie was playing with the Green Bay Packers, all pro. But when he came home, Shannon, during the off season, he had to get a job with the teaching or with the DC Recreation Department, because they weren't making them big checks like they making today, Shannon. You know, he had to get a second job. So that year, he was working as a roving leader, and we had just had lunch at a place called Chez Maurice. And we were standing out there, bright, sunshiny day, man, April 4th. And man, my man Harvey Cooper rode by in the car and hung out the window. We call Harvey the oldest teenager in the city. He hollered out, "Hey, Harold, they just shot Dr. King in Memphis." So Willie looked at me and said, "What did he say?" I said, "It sounded like he said they just shot Dr. King." And by that time, when we had lunch, people are coming, ladies and guys coming out there crying out the restaurant, man. And Willie looked at me, man, and said, "I think we're gonna have trouble, brother." I said, "Yeah, trouble's on the way." And so we started walking down U Street, and Willie said, "We got to call the office, see what they want us to do." And by that time, Luke Moore, who was the first Black modern-day U.S. Marshal, he followed Frederick Douglass in charge. And I think he got appointed by President Nixon as the first U.S. Marshal in charge. So Luke was known all over the place, one of the really classic guys. And the 3 of us walked arm in arm down U Street until we got to Ben's Chili Bowl. And Luke saw Ben and John Snipes and some other businessmen standing in front of the Chili Bowl. So he said, "Well, let me go over here and see what's happening, man." He said, "I'll be right back." So he went over, stayed a few minutes, and came back. He said, Ben said they called him and they want all businesses to close down. He said, I got to go make a couple of calls, because Ben ain't got no business being closed down, and, you know, we'll have trouble. So by that time, Willie has gotten in contact with the DC Recreation Department with, what was our boss's name? I can't even think of his name now, but it'll come to me in a minute. But he said, "Tell Harold to go down to the precinct that Assistant Chief Brian wants to see him down there." So I did. I walked down to the precinct, which is about 2 or 3 blocks away. Willie went, I don't know where he went, but I didn't see him anymore. So I get down to the precinct, Shannon, I go in there, and the lady sitting at the desk say, "Mr. Bell, Chief O'Brien waiting for you downstairs." So I go downstairs, man, and there, man, these cops in full gear, man, rifles, gas, man. I said, "What the hell is going on?" So the chief sees me, he said, "Harold, come here, Harold, come here." So I go over there. He said, "Put your hand up." He swore me in as a police officer.
Wow.
Gave me a badge, man. I said, "Chief, where's the gun?" He said, "Boy, you better get out of here. I can't give you no gun." So I went out there. I spent 3 nights and 3 days out there. I was scared as hell. I wasn't scared because a lot of people didn't know me, but I was scared of one of them cops be thinking I was, I was out there rioting and take a shot at me. I was scared of, but I got through it, man. And that badge he gave me got me through the military barricades and the police barricades where I could go anywhere in DC.
1968.
Around, man.
It's the same time Harry Edwards doing his thing on the podium.
Yeah, well, Harry and that crew got together, man, and they had been planning it, man. This just didn't happen spur of the moment. That happened at the Olympic Games, man, and Harry and John and man, I never got a chance to know Tommy real well, except for meeting him there. But John Carlos and I became good friends, and of course Harry and I became good friends. So they were like family, man. So
Yeah.
that mistake that I made with Harry, man, I just had to say something, man, because I got to be at peace with myself. Harry may be still pissed off at me, but I had to get it out, man. There's no, hey, man, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what we should do. That's what real men do, man. You confront each other. You got a problem? Hey, man, let's hear it. Don't talk behind my back or say this. Let's head to my face,
Talk to me
man.
directly. Yeah. Nah. Let me ask you this though. During the time when you started doing, radio, and like right now we got all these different media platforms out. Now you were on the AM side, they still had FM, and then they had television. But you saying that like a lot of people were still tapping into, that AM side of radio. What was that like in using that media platform to, get things out? And how about reading? Was there any, papers or anything like just all that you had to compete with for you to do what you were able to do? What was that experience like?
Well, what made my experience that much easier is that I was on a gospel station, and religion is big in Washington D.C. And I came out of a church, Mount Airy Baptist Church, where my great grandfather laid the first brick to build in 1893.
Wow.
So I was from the church. I was comfortable, man, with the church thing. And I just got lucky, man, that Jim Vance and I became great friends. And I used to go up and sit with Jim Vance in the evening before he go on. He would write these great commentaries, Shannon. And I would sit there, man, and I would watch how he would make them flow. And I started writing commentaries, I started playing message music. I was the first one to play message music. What's going on? Respect yourself. Black and proud, man. I was playing all of that stuff, man. People had never heard anything like that. So they would tune into me like, man, this brother is great, man. And then I would have all these great athletes. I was the first one to establish a media roundtable. Media folks never got together, Shannon, and sit down and talk about what was going on in the community. So I would have a media roundtable once a month with George Solomon. Oh man, I had Bill Rhoden, who wrote the book $40 Million Slaves. He was part of my roundtable.
Wow.
Dave Dupree from the Washington Post, George Solomon from the Washington Post, Byron Rosen from the Washington Post. I mix it up every month, man. So my program was different, man. Plus, like I said, I brought the time from the station, man, and I had 4 checks coming in, man. I had the Budweiser check coming in, and the Maryland State check coming in, the Nike check coming in. I even had the DC lottery, man. I had them all mixed up. And it was I was the first independent guy to have his own talk show, man. And I set the pace, man. It was great, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I was making so much money, I thought it was never gonna end. And so the hustlers, I was tight with the hustler down 17 because I hang out down there. I was one of the guys. The first of the month, man, the hustler would come around to WST, wait in line. They know I was getting paid. and I would let them money, man. They pay. I wasn't charging no quarter on a dollar, stuff like that. Sometimes I didn't get my money back, but it was no big thing, man. And that's what Donald Huff wrote a column in the Washington Post, and I still got that column. Say Harold Bell gets his ratings off the streets.
Oh wow!
Wrote a nice column, man. But I was well respected, man. I mind my business, and guys would talk about around me. Or sometimes I just move away because sometimes I didn't want to hear none of that stuff that they were doing, And they respected that, man.
And, one of the things,
it's been a hell of a ride, man, and I've been truly blessed. And once again, I couldn't have been blessed no more than to marry my wife, Hattie, in 1968, right after the riots. We got married in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Started my first Christmas toy party in December of 1968 down at Old Turner's Arena, which is Hillcrest Children's Center, a Saturday program. So man, it's been a ride, man. But
Yeah.
I look back, I could have been a millionaire, but it wasn't about the dollar, man. I watched my mother. I learned from my mother, man, about helping people, man. My mother helped people. I watched my grandmother, my aunts, and Sarah and Dwight at the church, man. You could go to Mount Airy Baptist Church on Sundays. You would think it was a revival every Sunday. That church was jumping, man. If you didn't get there by 10:30, you didn't have no seat. And,
Wow.
and my grandmother played the organ. She was the matriarch, man.
Yeah.
And she made us, man. She made me realize that, I have to always tell the truth, man, because somebody evidently told I was on the air 9 every Sunday with Tweety Green. and she sat me down one Sunday saying, she said, grandson, look, promise me one thing. You will always tell the truth. Because, a lie will change 1,000 times, but the truth never changes. So you're always going to be protected telling the truth, man. And I never forgot. Now I've told some lies now. I got completely telling lies. But she put that in my head, man. And when I went on the air, man, you tell the truth, man, because it will catch up with you. And I see, you can run, Shannon, but you cannot hide. All them guys that I helped, you've seen the list that went on to become millionaires, man. They know who I am. I know who they are. You can't run, but you can't hide.
No.
Hey, man,
One of the things,
it's been a hell of a ride, man.
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we did this season was make sure that these stories, are not lost and that they stay alive. Because when you understand the people behind the platform, you understand the importance of preserving that history. And that was, what brings us, to this next chapter. And as we move into, season 2, the focus will go deeper into the story behind Harold Bell, deeper into the story behind Inside Sports, and deeper inside the mission behind, Kids in Trouble. For season 2, we'll take these stories from the blogs and, bring them to life through conversation, memories, and the people who were a part of those moments. Harold, before we get out of here, what is one story from your archives that you believe absolutely needs to be told in the next chapter for season 2?
Well, Shannon, I'm working on my book right now, my second book, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And on the cover of that book, man, are 2 icons that I can say were my friends. And when they see the cover of that book, I'm standing with Muhammad Ali and I'm standing with Richard Nixon. How many people can say that they hung out with the greatest and the president of the United States invited them to the White House? That's a hell of a story from a brother from the project, the housing projects, man. And Shannon, I know you've seen that picture with me, all of these politicians that I've interacted with over the years.
Absolutely.
And I was able to cross the aisle. Republican or Democrat didn't make no difference, man. Because you know what? The children made the difference. They know that they were helping me help the children, man. You understand? Strom Thurmond, supposed to be one of the biggest racists in the country. Richard Nixon. They opened up the door to me, man. My man, Decatur Trotter, Steny Hoyer, who has been like a lifesaver since Decatur Trotter died in 2004. And now Steny Hoyer is retiring after almost 60 years in office. He has to be tired because he has really carried the Black community in Prince George's County. And I don't see anybody else, man, coming in to replace him. Everybody's trying to find out how to get a dollar bill. We keep putting these same old frauds in office, putting them in the pulpit, and they're leading us down the wrong road, man. They're my man, John Lewis, with Steny. They were like brothers in the struggle. John Lewis helped me get my man Earl Lord into the NBA Hall of Fame, man, with Red Auerbach. So that's why I always say, man, every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy, man. And we got to realize that, man. I'm on the way out, man. So young people have got to take over. These old folks got to step aside, man. And let these young people come in, because these are very difficult times. These are I never thought that I would see this day, man.
Right.
With this out racism coming from the White House.
Right.
Coming from the White House.
Man, I know. Standing on the step. Yeah. From being there.
Masks on, man. It's dangerous out there, man. And it's hard to trust each other because everybody is for themselves. It's about me, man.
Yeah.
I'm thankful, man, that I've been able to accomplish the things. Thank Dr. Harry Edwards, thank Muhammad Ali, thank Richard Nixon, man, thank my wife, and thank some folks who have not forgotten that I was there for them. I always knew young people were watching me, Shannon. That's why they never saw me drinking a beer, shooting crap on the playgrounds, or none of that stuff. When I come out, they say, "Uh-oh, here comes Mr. Bell." I gotta cut that out.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been a hell of a life, man. And, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali to give you the only interview, Shannon, after the biggest fight of his career. He done met reporters all around the world. But when he got back to New York, who did he call? That's unheard of. He picked up the phone and called me, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. That is insane. But that is incredible. And that just shows, the plight of who you are, what you represent, and what you've done. So, Harold Bell, we want to thank you. And this is Inside Sports. If you have not read that article, go check that out as well. It was written in 2018 by Alex Belf. Inside Sports, the oral history. You could definitely learn a lot more about Mr. Harold Bell, his legacy, Kids in Trouble, Hattie T, all the great work that they've done. But we want to thank you, Harold.
Hey, Shannon, thank you, man, for coming aboard, man, and taking, being an executive producer and co-host, man, and telling the story the way it should have been told. Because it needs to be told. And this is a time for me, at least get in the archives of some of the great people that helped make me great. Because there's some great people that helped make me great, man. That's what it's about. We got to keep reaching back.
Absolutely. So thank you, Harold, and thanks to everybody who's watched, listened, and supported the first season of the second chapter of the original Inside Sports. It was, a great reminder of, all of the history of this area of the world. I mean, this guy's international. You want to know more. We want you to know more. This has been the season 1 finale of the second chapter of the original Inside Sports with Harold Bell. I'm Shannon Big Bach Roundtree, and we will see you all in season 2. Thank you, Harold. We love you.
Love you, man.
Yeah. I'm talking about the greatest. Hold up. Never with that fake-ish. Roll up. Really saw the real when he was young. Muhammad Ali was still the same when he growed up. Louisville strong, we all knew. He the chosen one. He the chosen one. He knocked our list and he shocked the world and left it frozen, exposing the hatred America had for us. Ain't no justice, it was just us. 1974. Rumble in the jungle, the Thriller and Manila left you humble after Ali beat Foam and he made a phone call to a DC brother named Harold Bell. He didn't call ABC, NBC. He didn't call Ed Bradley at 60 Minutes. He didn't call Howard Cosell. He floated like butterflies, stung like a bee, and Ali made me proud to be me. He called Harold Bell in D.C.
Ali, a global cultural icon.
Yeah.
He's rope-a-dope like a time bomb.
Rumble, young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, triumph for the rumble. Young man, rumble. Beautiful young man, never tumbled rumble.
Ahmed Ali, Harold Bell, Jill Scott, Huron, Kendrick, and Rama.
Rumble,
Young man, no more beautiful young man. Never time for the devil, time for the
now we're talking about Harold Bell, Jill Scott, Ron.
get them dough.
Yeah, talking about Harold Bell, oh, real godfather of sports talk, a man that talk and walk that walk, a media community pioneer. Share the same radio mic as P. Green. Over there, his voice came through loud and clear. When the streets of the original Chocolate City were mean, they did not have to scream, yeah. Unlike today's radio host, the first black American to host and produce his own sports talk radio show in D.C. Oh yeah, this brother was bad G. The show was christened Inside Sports. The tag given to him by his wife Hattie T, stolen by the powers to be. His interviews and friendship with Ali and Red all were back. Put his Inside Sports talk show on the map on his radio show. He interviewed some of the most famous athletes, reverend and reviewed the people and the struggle. His wife Hattie T founded Kids in Trouble, incorporated in the Hillcrest Saturday program in 1968. Shortly after the D.C. riots, this idea was great and still is to this very date. Invited by Nixon to come to the White House, his own people showed their jealousy, so what? Lights out, that great man's name